This is City Cast Philly. I'm Trinity Marie, and here's what Philly's talking about. Before we get into the topics of today, we're going to talk about random acts of kindness, a debate around preservation of murals, and Philly Police Department. They could be using AI for 911 calls. Before we get into all that, I got something special to share with y'all. CityCast Philly is turning 4 years old. It's our birthday coming up.
Ooh,
and to celebrate, yay! And to celebrate, we're throwing a party over at Brooklyn Bowl, Philadelphia with our CityCast Philly neighbors. If you're a neighbor, you've got your invite in your email yesterday. Make sure you RSVP. And if you're not a neighbor, listen, we want you to come over, celebrate with us, and show off your amazing bowling skills. Sign up today at membership.citycast.fm/Philly. Listen, when you sign up, not only will you get access to this event, but you get to choose some limited edition merch that we have. You can choose between an Oxford pennant. It's got a cute little cheesesteak on it. And it says, "I live here on purpose." Or if that doesn't interest you, maybe our sturdy canvas tote that says, "Neighbors make Philly." Because our neighbors do make Philly. We're all Philadelphians and we all make this city special. So join now at membership.citycast.fm/Philly. I want to see you at the bowling alley. And I want to have some conversations with you all. I want to start today's conversation about this. When was the last time someone, a random person, was kind to you in Philly, or they showed you some type of random act of kindness?
I mean, I've got to give a major shout out to my new neighbors. I moved earlier this year during the biggest snowstorm of the year, literally that weekend.
That's when you moved?
That is when I moved, yes.
Wow,
and
insane.
And my new neighbors were helping me shovel the stoop. They were helping me bring boxes in. I mean, like, the entire block, like, was kind of plowed, not so much. So it was a team effort, and they did not need to do that. So I so appreciate them, and I love my neighbors. So shout out to them.
That's amazing. How did you even have that conversation? They just saw you carrying a box and was like,
they
"Let
just
me help?"
came up. Yes, they knew people were moving in. They saw me, they introduced themselves, and they were like, "We can help." So
that
it was
is
very
incredible.
Heartwarming.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love my new block. I love my neighbors.
Would you have taken that over, like, I don't know, a basket of fruit?
Absolutely. 1,000%. I don't need the fruit. Please help me carry boxes. I have too much clothes, so needed the help.
That's Abby Fritz, creative producer here at CityCast Philly. Comrade, what about you? When's the last time a Philadelphian was kind to you?
You know what? And I'm going to go super recent and super small. I signed a lease on a new apartment with my boyfriend yesterday, and he is flying right now. So thank you. But
everyone's
last
moving
night,
around.
Everyone's moving. It is the season.
Right.
But my friend Aubrey was, in the neighborhood. So we went to Cantina last night on Passyunk Avenue to get a couple drinks, and we sat outside. The weather was nice. And I guess it was just the time we were there, like 6 p.m.-ish, but it was like a dog parade. And the kindness I want to share today was just like the number of people who walked by, saw my friend Aubrey and I having a glass of wine, and we're dog people, and so many dogs let us pet them, and the small quick conversations we had. I learned about Corey, a little aging Bichon that needs a little flashlight. His owner has a little flashlight that he carries so that he can walk down the little steps. And there was a cute little couple who just moved to Philly who had 2 little dachshunds, and these little quick conversations you have. It was really sweet.
There are so many dog meetups coming up, actually. There's a dachshund meetup at Evil Genius Beer Company this Saturday, August 22nd, starting at 12 p.m. And also, Love City Brewing is having a yoga session featuring roaming rescue puppies from TLC Animal Rescue, followed by puppy snuggles and a post-yoga drink. And that's happening on Sunday, August 23rd. So plenty of dog meetups happening in the city. And Philly is a dog city.
For sure. Well, we're a walkable city, and, it's nice to have, a little furry friend. I also think just like it's the trend. Millennials aren't having kids. We're having plants and
Yeah.
dogs. So,
What's
or
that
we're having fewer
term?
kids, I should say.
Dink. Double income, no kids with dog or whatever. They keep adding stuff on the end of
Those
dink.
dogs
Yeah.
are the most spoiled. Yeah.
Yes. They're living the dream.
So the most recent act of kindness was actually from me. On Tuesday, I found a guy's wallet. Well, actually, my daughter spotted it. I picked it up. I mean, we're talking cash and cards falling out of it. I looked for an ID and later drove to the guy's house.
Whoa.
I rang the doorbell. It was one of those Ring doorbells. And at
Yeah.
first, he kind of was hesitant. He was like, oh, no, you got the wrong house. And I was like, no, this name, let me repeat the name for you. Maybe it's a little bit slower. And he was like, oh yeah, that's me. I'll come out in a second. And he thanked me and
Wow.
that was it.
Wow. You really went the extra mile with that.
Yeah, you're a saint for that, and to like drive to someone's house is so kind.
Yeah.
I need to update my address on my ID now. Hearing that story, they're gonna be going to my old place.
Oh my God, you'll never get your wallet back.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Speaking of random acts of kindness and money, y'all, there is an Instagram account. It is called Philly Money Hunt. It's got 18K followers. And they say this, the game is simple. We hide the cash. You find it, Philly. We post the winner recaps to every drop. So I did a little bit of digging. This seems to be an anonymous person or maybe a group of people. They hide a wad of cash in random places. They film where they hide it, post it to Instagram, and they record the winner, the first person to find it. They also record the people who just weren't fast enough and are looking at the secret spot. These are the places where they have hid some cash. The gazebo at the waterworks behind the art museum, under a traffic cone near the SEPTA underpass on Diamond Street between 10th and 11th Streets in North Philly. So like near this really beautiful mural. It says like community garden.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they also hid it in Germantown's Vernon Park.
Nice.
Conrad, I know you walk around the city. Do you know anything
Yeah.
about this kind of random act of kindness?
Never heard about this, but it sounds cute. Also, my first thought is like reminds me of geocaching. Remember that like game that was happening forever ago? Like these sort of outdoor puzzles. It was kind of when like the internet and social media was like newer. But this just feels like an extension of that. And God, and my other thought is like, is everything for social media now? When you said they record it, I'm like, God, everything that everyone does is for social media videos. But, you know, if you're bringing a little kindness, why not? I'd rather spread that than some other things.
I'm surprised that this is happening in this economy. Like, like who is
Right.
funding this? That's my biggest question.
They must make money off of the Instagram somehow, or maybe not. Who
Maybe.
knows?
I don't know.
Who knows? But I mean, hey, if I get a wad of real cash, you can use my face on the social media.
Well, speaking of acts of kindness, Philly will also show up for you when something bad is going down. I'll explain what that means after the break. What if your entire day could happen in one place? Fittler Club brings work, wellness, dining, and community together in the heart of Philadelphia. Members can start their morning with a workout in the 2-floor fitness club, take a swim in the indoor pool, meet a client over coffee, settle into an inspiring workspace, and finish the day with dinner and drinks. But Fittler Club is more than its amenities. It is a welcoming community built around meaningful connections with professional panels, networking events, tastings, live entertainment, and family programming throughout the year. Whether you want to upgrade your routine, expand your network, or find a place that feels like your own, Fittler Club is designed around the way you live. Learn more or schedule a personalized tour today at fittlerclub.com. That's fittlerclub.com. Okay, over the past week, a man in a Chucky-style mask allegedly has been threatening and chasing people around City Hall. So I read in CBS Philadelphia, this suspect has chased at least 6 people. And one of the people that he's chased, he said, ready to die. Really scary stuff.
Yeah.
At the time of this recording, police have not yet made any arrest of this suspect, but they are facing multiple charges, including terroristic threats, simple assault, and other offenses. So many different outlets have been following this story. 6 ABC, local television station here in the city, they did an interview with a woman who has identified herself as Jamaica, who said she actually saw this masked man and kicked him in the chest. She is now being described as a hero, as an inspiration, all over social media, because she actually confronted this person. And it reminded me of an episode we recently did about how we really get to meet, like unfortunately, under like scary situations, we end up meeting heroic Philadelphians doing a random act of kindness sometimes, saving people's lives potentially through TV interviews.
Yeah.
And viral videos.
And I mean, Jamaica's story is so cool too, because not only did she like confront and kick this guy, it was like he didn't approach her. He was trying to target a female runner.
Another woman, yeah.
And Jamaica was like, hey, there's someone behind you, and was like waving. And this person then got away, which that also kind of seems like his MO, which is kind of horrifying to me as someone who runs in Philadelphia regularly. But he seems to like to chase women who are running and people who are running. But Jamaica warned this person, and then the guy kind of turned to her and she was like, bring it on. And she kicked him. And she was so funny too, because she was like, I don't know what he wanted. Like, he didn't grab my purse. He didn't fight. She was like, he definitely couldn't fight. So right. She was hilarious. Right. And I mean, so brave. I would have been running the other direction. So truly like a heroic individual.
Right. For speaking up. Right.
Yeah. And going back to the other segment too, it's like, is everything for social media? Because I read one report that it looked like this person had a phone in their hand, like maybe they were recording it as like a prank for social media, and maybe it just went too far. Maybe, I don't know. It seems like this person might be young too. I was going to say the irony there, though, would be like if they were maybe doing some terrible prank that hopefully they've rethought already by now. The irony being that like this video of Jamaica is blowing up on social media. Now Jamaica is a star, and maybe give Jamaica the key to the city. Yes. Before I even heard about this, I saw the video of Jamaica on TikTok with like so many views. So, and yeah, like I think it's surprising for a number of factors. Like this is an area of the city where like there are a lot of people, generally speaking, also a lot of like center city district, folks in uniforms and stuff. So it's maybe surprising that it would happen here, but grateful to, bystanders being like, no, we're not going to let this happen. We're not going to let you scare other people in the city. And that's great for Jamaica.
Now, this kind of opens up a new conversation that I want to have. And this has been a conversation in recent years with the use of online chats and Facebook groups. And even like I have a Ring camera, and there is like kind of like a neighborhood community like sharing of information about noises and theft and things like that.
Like
and then,
Watch.
There's been apps like, like Neighborhood Watch. And then there's apps like Citizens app and community groups online on Reddit where these maybe scary situations or folks talk about, hey, there was an incident. This is what the person looks like. Do you think that these groups are helpful as we live in Philly?
Yeah, I mean, that's actually how I originally heard about this story about the masked man in Center City, was through one of these groups. But I mean, I think it's complicated, like all things. But like I unfortunately had an experience where I was touched unconsensually in public, and like very public. I was in a coffee shop. I was waiting for the bathroom and was approached by someone and like was not able to get out of the situation, and no one helped me. And like I didn't know anything about this person. I didn't like call the cops, nothing like that. I just like kind of got out of there. And afterwards, a bunch of my friends sent me the Instagram account, Watch Out Philly, which is kind of this like watchdog social media group, kind of like what you're talking about, Trinae, where people submit people who may or may not be like preying on women and like people with other marginalized identities in the city. And it's all submission based. So, you know, you have to take everything with a grain of salt to an extent. But I found the person that I interacted with on there and realized this is something that he does regularly. A lot of people have had interactions with him. And there was a lot of really good information about like how to communicate with him, how to de-escalate with like him specifically, and like the language you should use and where he generally hangs out. And I mean, I see him like to this day around, like he's around. And I mean, people like have reported him to the police, and like it doesn't seem like much can be done about it. I'm not exactly sure why, because it doesn't seem like I'm the only one who's had like experiences with him. But it was nice to like find a place and realize that there are people like this around the city that maybe like, you know, they're going through things, they're dealing with mental health, like whatever it is, and that there's like a community trying to provide people with tools to deal with them and to be aware of them. And then also, you know, like find community about what happened to you, you know, in the aftermath of like situations like that. And I like feel very blessed that it wasn't worse than it was. It was very mild in comparison to like some of the other experiences that are like talked about on this account. But like I did find it really helpful, and wish I had seen it sooner, quite honestly, because I think I would be able to de-escalate a situation with like this particular person if I had. So, you know, it's hard because these types of accounts, I don't know how they're fact checked. I don't know how you do any of that, but I found it useful when I had a situation like that.
Well, Abby, first of all, I just want to say thank you for sharing that, because that's, again, that is a very scary thing to be in that situation and not kind of know what to do, or, you know, just across the board, just a very unfortunate situation. Yes, there are criticisms to these online groups in that there is no oversight and there is no like legal framework, or sometimes there could be a misuse where, you know, one of these groups could actually create more harm, like profiling someone or a group of people who are actually not connected to a situation. So it's a really serious thing. And also it's going to get even more complicated, I predict, when we talk about the use of AI. And the reason why I bring that up is another story that I read in the Inquirer is that the Philadelphia Police Department, they will soon be using AI with 911 calls. Now, according to the Inquirer, the department plans to use AI to help them screen calls in hopes of faster response times. And Police Commissioner Kevin Bethel says, you know, the department needs some serious upgrades. So here's a brief summary of how this could work. Let's say someone calls for help and they will be connected to an emergency dispatcher. AI will be listening in the background. So the program will kind of listen for keywords to determine, is this like a non-threatening situation? Is this a life-threatening situation, right? So the difference between some vandalism or a theft versus a serious crime like a robbery or a shooting. But even with like non-threatening crimes that could lead to something a little bit more serious. So the program will kind of determine based off of the caller's keywords. And for those that are non-threatening or like low-level crimes, the caller will get directed to make a report online or a video call with an officer. Police Commissioner Bethel says that, you know, the department is still evaluating potential pitfalls. And he was quoted in the Inquirer saying, and, you know, they acknowledged these nuances. What are you guys' thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, right now they're just in the like testing out level. Right. So it's not like this is happening right now. Because I mean, they've got to do a lot to modernize the police department, it sounds like, according to, the statement by Police Commissioner Kevin Bethel. But yeah, it does raise some concerns. And I think like one of the kind of nuances that they pointed out in that Inquirer article was like how quickly like a robbery or a verbal altercation can become more serious. And like if you've already been transferred to like an AI agent or an AI like recording, if it escalates, like how quickly will they be able to react to that and get you back on the phone with a human? So, I mean, that's very glaringly something I would worry about. And I also just don't think people are calling 911 generally, like, in the best state of mind. You're never calling 911 because you're, like, super calm and chill.
You ever call, like, anything and there's an automated voice and it's not a human and they don't understand what you're saying? You said yes,
100%.
no, and or the actual issue that you have can't really be answered in a yes no question. Like I need to explain the backstory of like what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
And that is so frustrating. Yet if I had talked to a human who understands like
the nuance,
normal human, like, nuances of a human conversation, it's much less frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
That is, Trinae and Abby, that is exactly my thought. Like, I think more times than not, if you're calling 911, especially now, like we have 311, it could be maybe better advertised. But yeah, if you have like a light out or a question about like city services, you can call 311. I think
but that could take a long time as well.
Could take a long time. But I think, if you're calling 911, there's a decent chance that like something serious is happening and you need like a very quick response. And, I think often in these emergency cases, like we're talking about seconds here could change the outcome of an emergency. And these are seconds that, these AI systems that are still like relatively faulty and in their early stages could really mess up. My recent example, I know this is anecdotal, but my dentist's office now uses an AI thing. So when you call, I was just trying to reschedule a cleaning. And when I called, it took me down a rabbit hole. And at the end of the day, I got a call from the dentist the next day being like, hey, you didn't come in for your appointment. And I said, I called your little weird AI system. And I really thought I had done it, like rescheduled it for like a day in September. And they're like, we don't have that. I'm like, then what was this AI system? I have so many questions about this. This is such an important safety thing. Like, why is the police department so ready to like throw their weight behind a new technology? Like, can we not wait a little bit for the technology to develop, for it to prove its worth, XYZ? Also, I'm curious about the cost here. It was hard for me to uncover like what the cost of this new system will be, what the cost of rolling it out will be.
I didn't see that in this article. Yeah.
And for me, that also goes to the reporting here. I'm in the arts, I'm in the public space. There's rarely an article that comes out about improvements to the public space, to public life that doesn't include a price tag. One example is, and I know this is a bit controversial, I heard it on a recent CityCast episode, but the $15 million renovation of one block of South Broad Street, Avenue of the Arts. No matter how you feel about that, the price tag was in like the title of the article. We know you can bring whatever thoughts you have to that project or to the idea of adding trees to Broad Street or where those trees should be or how we should make public space more walkable or more enjoyable or cleaner or better, whatever. But that price tag is in the title.
Yeah.
But it bums me out a little bit that like stuff like this can get rolled out. The police have about a $900 million budget and we don't get to know what it's going to cost. And it seems like in the reporting, they don't really know yet too, or they're not being transparent about that. So I have a lot of worries about this. So we'll see.
It did say the first line of the article said until last year, and this is a quote from the article, until last year, Philly police detectives wrote search warrants on typewriters.
So crazy to me. But that's the thing too about this whole conversation is like our police department already uses AI for other things. They use it to scan license plates. There's like surveillance that like will flag cars that have, crimes or whatever connected to it. So it's not like we like aren't using AI at all, right? Like in the police department, you're already integrating it in other ways. But this feels like a uniquely human position, in my opinion, where it's like, I don't know, maybe you're calling because you see something, but you don't know exactly what's going on. And maybe at first you don't know what a certain type of weapon really looks like, or like maybe like you can't recognize like the complexity of a scenario. And like these are like questions that I think humans who are trained to do this are really able to answer.
So humans will still be around. So there will still be a human officer or a human dispatcher involved with these calls. I think from the reporting and from what Commissioner Bethel said, it's about just like upgrading it and pushing these calls a little bit more faster. Because I think some of the current technology that they do have is just slowing down that process. But we'll definitely follow this story. All right, we've got some more news after the break. What if your entire day could happen in one place? Fiddler Club brings work, wellness, dining, and community together in the heart of Philadelphia. Members can start their morning with a workout in the 2-floor fitness club, take a swim in the indoor pool, meet a client over coffee, settle into an inspiring workspace, and finish the day with dinner and drinks. But Fiddler Club is more than its amenities. It is a welcoming community built around meaningful connections with professional panels, networking events, tastings, live entertainment, and family programming throughout the year. Whether you want to upgrade your routine, expand your network, or find a place that feels like your own, Fiddler Club is designed around the way you live. Learn more or schedule a personalized tour today at fiddlerclub.com. That's fiddlerclub.com. Conrad, you're a curator at Mural Arts, and I want you to talk us through a really complex conversation around the Keith Haring mural over in Point Breeze. What's going on?
Yes, Philadelphia is the best city in the world, most important city in the world, the center of the universe. And we have a lot of important things here in the city, and some we want to preserve. We're the World Heritage City for our architecture. And we have some 5,000 murals. We're known around the globe as the mural capital of the world. We have thousands of work of public art, including about 5,000 murals. But none of them are designated historical. And as Mural Arts reaches its 40-plus year anniversary, and murals become embedded in sort of the what this city is.
Yes, it's in our identity at this point.
It's in our DNA. It's a huge part of what makes our city special. And for me, that it means a lot of things. One, our murals are community-centered. Most of our murals come through a deep community process. They are ideas that come from community members, from neighbors. They're often painted with neighbors, with community members, and local artists. So it's a really important thing that we do here. And as of today, none of them are necessarily being preserved. There is one mural as a caveat in the Curtis building. It's the glass mosaic mural that's about 100 years old.
And that's a mural that's inside versus a mural that we would see on the outside facade of a building or a bridge or an underpass or something.
That's right. It's called The Dream Garden. It's by Maxfield Parrish and Louis Comfort Tiffany. And that was only designated a historic object after a casino owner in Las Vegas, the Wynn guy, wanted to buy it, remove it from the wall here in Philly, and install it in a casino in Las Vegas.
Oh my gosh.
That was after that building was going through some renovations. Yes, it was indoors, and they decided not to do that. And the only way to preserve it was to name it a historical object. So something similar might be happening here with this Keith Haring mural. For a little background, this Keith Haring mural called We the Youth is at 23rd and Ellsworth Street in Point Breeze. And it's a really special mural for Philadelphia and for the globe because it's the only remaining intact collaborative public mural by this iconic artist that's still at its original site. So Keith Haring in the Philly tradition did this in a collaborative way. Most of this mural is actually painted by students and by Philadelphians because that was sort of how this mural came about. And it's gone through many renovations over the years.
And this is like a really cool mural too. It's like kind of like faceless people kind of swinging their arms and like dancing maybe. I see like colors of red and blue, yellow, green. I think even Keith Haring's artwork was in like some Sesame Street.
Yeah. He's one of the most well-known, prolific street artists, muralists, ever. Yeah.
I remember like growing up and watching and like kind of falling in love with his art on, because I learned about it through PBS.
And the mural we have from him in Philly, it's like so iconically Keith Haring. It's so like you see it and you're like, that's
Keith Haring. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the question Philadelphia can ask itself now is like, do we want to preserve some works of art? Again, we have 5,000 murals. There's no way all of them will be designated historic objects, and they shouldn't. But like maybe there's one or two or a few, and this could be the first one. So,
and once they're designated as a historic object, that means it can't be torn down. It can't be manipulated. And there's so much redevelopment and new construction that happens in the city. So this designation would essentially protect the mural.
Yeah, the same way we protect other historic sites. Yeah, this would be technically not a historic object, Philadelphia's Registry of Historic Places, but same idea. And it would protect it from certain developments. It would probably open up different banks of money to preserve it and to keep it up. So, it's just a question we should ask ourselves as Philadelphians. Like, this is an important part of our DNA. It's an important part of who we are as a city. Like, do we want to preserve some of these murals? And right now there is one very public critic of this possible designation from the Philadelphia Alliance of Greater Philadelphia, Paul Steineck. He's just worried that if we start designating one, that we might designate more and more, and then it might interrupt development here in the city of Philadelphia. I don't think that that's true. I mean, 1, 2, 3, even if we designate 15 murals, there's plenty of other places for developers to do their work. And again, this is just a part of like, what city do we want to be? What histories do we want to preserve? And this seems like a really important history in a really important neighborhood created by one of the most legendary artists who, by the way, has connections to PA. He's from PA, Keith Haring.
Yeah.
So there's so many reasons to potentially save this.
It's and I also read in a WHYY article that Paul Steineck had said that we recognize that Keith Haring was an internationally renowned artist, but murals have always been understood to be temporary interventions. That's interesting.
That is certainly like a line of thinking for some folks. And you could say that about anything. Any work of public art could go away at any point for any reason. But that's the decision we make, right?
But then who makes the decisions on what is what stays, what goes? And does that keep certain communities voiceless or not represented in public artwork?
And Shernay, that is a really good point here, because this designation didn't come from Mural Arts. It didn't even come from the Keith Haring Foundation. These were neighbors. These were the folks who own the community garden in the front asking to preserve this mural, because at the end of the day, like, that building could be owned by anyone, it could be under threat depending on different situations. So the best way to preserve it is to designate it as a historic place.
And that's an interesting point too about like communities asking to keep something in place, because I think some of the issues that come up with historical designations of buildings, like particularly buildings that are like individual family homes now, or like residential projects, like, is that the historical designation is a burden onto the people that own the buildings, especially if you're not a big corporation, especially if you're just someone who happens to own a really historical home, and now you're being tasked with like financially upkeeping it to a certain degree, or different things like that. So like sometimes historical designations could be seen as predatory to communities or as a barrier of entry for people with certain income levels. So I mean, I think if a community is asking for something to be preserved, that is at least a good indicator of like it's wanted. It's people are willing and able to put work in to help maintain this space and this piece. And I think on the other hand too, it's interesting to think about like in a city like Philly where history is so important to us, and we do have so many things and spaces that we choose to preserve, whether or not everybody wants them to be preserved. It's interesting to think about the types of art that rise to that level. And I mean, street art has not always been viewed as a fine art. And so, you know, it has not been given maybe the same recognition it deserves as being like a significant public service. And so, you know, it would be interesting to see and acknowledge like that, how much this art has impacted our city and how much it impacts the people that live around it.
And let me just say, too, if this interests you at all, please join the hearing. It's a public hearing. It's over Zoom. And it's on September 16th. It starts at 9:30 a.m. The Historic Commission will send out Zoom links when they send out a registration link, hopefully by the end of August, early September. And I wouldn't be surprised, Abby, if some group of people, given the significance of this mural, and there's like the Keith Haring Foundation that are in support of preserving it, and all these different groups, if they didn't offer to buy the building that it's on at like market rate or something from whoever owns it now. So don't know for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised by something like that, to your point of like the cost of like maintaining it and keeping it up. But we'll learn more on September 16th. I hope you all join. At the very least, like, it's an interesting conversation, and best city in the world.
Thank you so much, Conrad and Abby, for joining me on this episode of CityCast Philly today.
Thank you so much. I hope to be back soon.
Thanks so much, Janae.
That's all for us today here on CityCast Philly. If you enjoyed this episode, please share this with a friend. You can also send me a voicemail about how you feel, or text me at 215-259-8170. We love hearing from you, and we hope to include your thoughts on an upcoming segment. All right, make sure that you are subscribed to our morning newsletter so you can stay connected on what else Philly's talking about. And don't forget, if you want to come and bowl with the crew, make sure you become a CityCast Philly neighbor at membership.citycast.fm/Philly. All right, we will be back tomorrow morning with the Friday News Roundup. Talk to you then. Bye.